So, Kevin, to kick this one to you, do you think that Joe Burrow and the Bengals can overcome the odds to advance to the Super Bowl by beating the Chiefs this weekend in the AFC Championship game?
I made the prediction a few weeks back, like you said. I've been on the Joe Burrow wagon for a little bit now, obviously, pretty much for most of this season, and seeing what he's been able to produce, what he's been able to do with lack of experience, overcoming an injury. Obviously, the offensive line has been the front load of the biggest doubters that are opposing the Bengals' victory this Sunday or this weekend. It's not Sunday. It is Sunday. Both games are on Sunday. I'm crazy. And I really do have faith that Joe Burrow is going to find a way to overcome the difficulties and the mountainous struggle, or should I say the mountainous obstacle that is Patrick Mahomes. And I really, really, really think that Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and those boys are just such impactful, such confident, and such dominant players at each of their positions that I think that they can find a way to overcome the mountain that is Kansas City. And I know what people are thinking. You had a better quarterback go up against him last week in Josh Allen. You had a better defense go up against it in the totality that is Buffalo. But in the last matchup that they played against each other, and by they I mean Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes, the Bengals ended up coming back and taking that victory, and Joe Burrow went completely off the rails and torched that Kansas City defense, in which we have seen in the last couple of weeks has been had. Now, Pittsburgh only put up 21 points, but that is more points than some teams have been able to put up against them for 2 months straight when they went on that win streak. Who broke that win streak? The Bengals. The Bengals are confident. The Bengals are young. That experience thing is going out of the window because they are finding ways to stay poised and stay ready to perform. They held Tennessee to 16 points. They held an NFL MVP candidate before his injury to under 75 total yards in Derrick Henry. They made Ryan Tannehill basically in our last segment that has absolutely blown up take off and look like a bum. They made Ryan Tannehill look awful. So I think that on the defensive front, they are coming up against a great, dominant performer that is Patrick and that offense. But on the offensive side, they're playing a defense that has been questionable the last couple of weeks. They're playing a defense that they already are familiar with. Now, they have a big adjustment period to make, like I said, in the offensive line. 9 sacks last week allowed against Tennessee. So I really think that they're going to have to run the ball pretty efficiently this week. I really think they're going to have to lean on Joe Mixon, create that play action. Jamar Chase is going to probably be doubled for the majority of this game because that's just the dominant presence that he overcomes or that he demands. So I think T. Higgins and their tight end CJ, oh my God, that
Uzama.
last name is
Uzama.
Uzama. That last name always gets me. I think they're going to be very, very, very impactful because when you dominate as much as Jamar has and you bring that double team presence, I really think that they're going to have to lean on some other playmakers. So I stick with my pick. I got Joe Burrow and the Bengals advancing to the Super Bowl. For those of you that are wondering, this is not a T. Higgins jersey. This is a Chad Johnson jersey before he legally changed his name to Ocho Cinco. So as y'all could see, I'm rocking with the Bengals.
Kevin, I got to give you credit. That was a bold take that you made a couple weeks ago saying that the Bengals are going to go to the Super Bowl. I fully respect that decision, but I'm going to go against the grain on this one, my guy. I got to take Kansas City on this one. And to me, I'm going to kind of make a bold statement here. I think the Chiefs win this one by 2 touchdowns. So, looking at this game, look, the Chiefs are coming off probably the biggest game of the year. I mean, to have a 42-point explosion against the number 1 rated defense in the Buffalo Bills last week was absolutely stunning. That game lived up to expectations, and the Chiefs were able to go above and beyond to win that game when it really looked like the Bills had won that game after Josh Allen had hit Gabriel Davis for that 4th touchdown of his with 13 seconds left. But Patrick Mahomes was able to lead that drive at the end of the game to get them into field goal range to get the game into overtime. And then once Casey got the ball, it was game over. Hitting up Travis Kelce on that back shoulder touchdown to advance to the AFC Championship game. So to me, the Chiefs are on a real high right here. It's not to discredit the high that Cincinnati is on. Cincinnati came off of a huge win against the Tennessee Titans last week on the road, beating the number 1 seed. It's just the Chiefs, to me, they are the more impactful team here as far as just what they're able to do. They're more dynamic than I think the Bengals are. And really, the matchup that we have between Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes, I think it's a great quarterback matchup going into this weekend. I don't know if it's as good as what we had with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes last week, but I think when you look at this matchup, I think that both quarterbacks are going to be able to perform pretty well just because we've already seen it once this year where Joe Burrow was able to light up that KC defense. Pat was able to do the same thing against that Cincinnati defense. But to me, the difference maker in this game is Cincinnati's offensive line is just a train wreck right now. To give up 9 sacks to the Tennessee Titans last week is unacceptable. Now, I do think that they will play better just because KC's pass rush has been inconsistent this year. They haven't been able to get a lot of pressure on the quarterback on a consistent basis. But I do think that KC's defense is going to step up. They are going to force some Joe Burrow mistakes. And I think that Chiefs defense, granted, they're not the best defense in the league, but they are opportunistic. And they do make some plays as far as getting some turnovers. And to me, if they're able to force a turnover off of Joe Burrow, or if they're able to get a fumble as well, I think it changes the entire momentum of the game. I think it swings entirely in KC's favor. And then when you factor in all the crowd noise that Arrowhead is going to provide for the Chiefs, that is going to be a big factor. And I remember Patrick Mahomes saying it after the game against the Bills last week, that was a huge factor, that the fans were significant for them in that game. And I do think that when you factor in that pressure from the crowd, just for the Bengals, it's going to be tough to hear those line calls on the line of scrimmage. And I think you're going to see some struggles for the Bengals in this game just because the environment in KC is going to be absolutely wild for that game. So overall, as far as the prediction goes, I have the Chiefs winning this one. I think they win this one by 2 touchdowns. I just think that Joe's going to make some mistakes, and I think that KC is going to punish them for it. And I think it's going to take them all the way to LA for Super Bowl 56. So as far as the score is concerned, I got the Chiefs winning this one by the score of, I'm going to say 34-20. I just think that Patrick Mahomes is going to outduel Joe Burrow in this matchup. I think Pat throws probably 4 touchdowns in this game, maybe 3. Maybe they get like a running touchdown from Darrell Williams or somebody in the backfield. Maybe Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets on the board as well. But just those mistakes that I'm expecting from Joe Burrow, I think it's going to cost them. And like I said, I got KC winning this one by the score of 34-20.